Chris, I want to preview everything coming up, but we have to take a look back to Saturday in Athens. What a special night that turned out to be for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, please let me, because it was fun. Sometimes you want to just move on. Um, this is one of those that I observed the 24-hour rule a little bit differently. 4 hours four to probably more like 8 hours on Sunday, four on Monday, and space out whatever you can to milk it throughout the course of the week. But yeah, there's no doubt there's a tough opponent coming, but there's no doubt there's another great win over Georgia in the rearview mirror. But we're going to keep glancing at that just a little bit for the next day or two from our perspective because it was so meaningful.
How impressive was it just the start to the game Alabama had? The defense did its
Oh.
job getting that three and out, and then the offense goes on a 6.5 minute drive, 74 yards. Ty Simpson looked in control really from the jump in this ball game.
There are two pieces of that, Roger, that I thought were huge for the game. Number one, um, it's that fine line. I say never, you often don't want to leave timeouts because they don't carry over. Um, at the same time, yeah, you kind of hate to burn them early. And I'm not saying we went all in on the first drive, but we went all in on the first drive. And you used two timeouts there early in the drive, somewhere around the fifth play. I don't remember exactly when it was, but you got a sure touchdown. I mean, a perfect deep ball to Ryan Williams. There's nobody within 2 steps of him. And 2 steps, it may as well be 200. You're not going to catch him. But he didn't catch the ball. And for a lot of teams where there's a one chance opportunity, and Georgia's one of those teams where often it can feel like you're only going to get one chance. To miss it right there, a lot of teams would have gone, oh, there goes the opportunity. And I probably was guilty of feeling that in the booth. But to have that, in essence, come off the board and then to continue the drive and have it go another 8 to 10 plays, whatever it was, and to finish it the way you did, that almost, look, you wouldn't ask for it in the moment, but it almost, I thought, worked to Bama's benefit because it sent a message to Georgia that we're not going away, that we can do more than beat you with the quick strike. And I thought really, really set tempo. And then you follow that up with another score to get it to 14-0. And you could, I referenced Larry Munson a great deal over the course of the weekend, and the greats certainly deserve that. But there was a lot of nausea rolling throughout Sanford Stadium when it got to 14-0 because you could tell they knew there was a lot of football left, and we knew it too. But there was definitely a good bit of, oh man, here we go again.
Absolutely. Well, for Alabama to get its third touchdown of the night in the red zone, it was set up beautifully by one pass. It was Ty Simpson to Kaden Proctor, took it 11 yards,
Yeah.
nearly got that touchdown. Just walk us through that play. When did you first notice number 74 that wide and ready to go with the football?
Didn't have it on my bingo card going into the game. I'll tell you that. They kind of used him as a decoy earlier, and just from a broadcast standpoint, I made the mistake of getting too focused through the binoculars because that ball, that play, as you know, was on the other end of the stadium, and my full range of view, I didn't notice that we had a dump truck out there on the far end, or a bulldozer, I guess, would have been more appropriate to use in Caden's case with this. So I just thought we had three wide by the time when we brought the guy in motion. I think it was Jeremy who went over there. Um, but regardless of who it was, I didn't quite catch it through the frame of the binoculars until I looked over and I went, oh, okay, that's a larger individual than normal. Um, and just, in your mind, you're processing, okay, that's a tackle that just caught the ball. Okay, I'm thinking, dear Lord, don't fumble. Because a lot of bad stuff can happen when somebody who's not used to carrying the football is carrying it, especially in the open field. But he's just knocking people left and right. And man, I wish he had caught the pass initially. a yard closer back towards uh, the field of play because I mean, yes, they got him down, but I think it was just trying to push that thing out of traffic and they got him out of bounds. Or it's a shame he didn't get the touchdown. The big boy touchdown is I think we call it with those guys. But it did. It was another thing that sent a message because you've done things. I thought we ran it for Alabama. We ran it the way we needed to. I mean, that's the reality of it. In that play there, that's an extended handoff. I mean, yes, it's a pass, but it's not a downfield strike. In fact, it's a lateral to him. It had to be. Going under center is the only way that's a legal play because if they go from pistol and throw that, it's a forward pass, and he would not have been an eligible receiver. So technically, that was not a completion. That was a run. At least that's the way it'll. I think it went on the stat sheet. Should have. So that even furthers my point about it being an extended handoff. And there are a lot of plays like that, Roger, that Alabama had in the game. So you talk about the traditional run, the straight handoff, toss sweep, whatever. Did we have a ton of yards in that regard? No. But plays that are the equivalent and not downfield throws, but are uh, basically run principles, I think, or designed to give you what a run would do. We had a bunch of those, but none bigger for multiple reasons than what Kaden delivered in there. I
And is
don't
that
think we'll see him in punt returns anytime soon, but he did a heck of a job. It when called on as the receiver.
Yeah, such a fun play. And is that just an example of what we also saw in the ball game as well? Some ingenious blocking schemes Alabama had. Is this just kind of
Yeah,
show the mind that Ryan Grubb has and how inventive he can be in game?
both that and Coach DeBoer because they're pretty much in step. Coach Coach Grubb is obviously the play caller, but you don't make that call without the approval earlier in the week from the boss. And so I think the timing, the execution, again, the way it was set up, I don't think they anticipated at all that ball was going to be thrown to him. I think that's part of why they were late reacting, to get over there. Not that they necessarily could have changed it and negated the play otherwise, but I I really don't think they thought that ball was going to go directly to him. And thankfully it did. Thankfully it worked. But yes, I do think you're going to see more. Maybe not. Well, think about the others. How many times Jeremy Bernard threw a pass, didn't he, or was
Hmm.
about to?
He
At
did throw a
least on
pass,
one
4 yard
occasion.
completion. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe twice because there was another time I think he had that option. We saw Jeremy line up in the backfield and carry the ball. We saw him line up and then option out and then get it flipped to him. There are all sorts of things that they're not afraid to do, and what this does is forces the other side to work on things outside of the traditional looks. And at the same time, I think Alabama's just going to get better and better at the more traditional run plays and things that we think of as normal, but still very effective within the flow of your offense.
So Alabama, an emotional win against Georgia, and we saw that a year ago. That was at home. Then
Yeah,
Alabama went on the road to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt, and here we are. It's similar this year. It's the same opponent, but obviously Vanderbilt off to a good start. But how do you feel like Alabama is going to approach this game, given the lessons of a year ago?
I think they'll be better prepared, but they've got to be because Vandy's good. Take last year out of the equation. They're good. Second time in 80 years that a Vanderbilt team has started 5-0. Um, Frankly, most years at Alabama, what does 5-0 mean? It means week 6 is coming next. It's expected, but only twice in 80 years puts into context what Clark Lee has done. Now, have they played Murderer's Row? No, but they've played who Vanderbilt should play, and they've looked really good against who Vandy's played. But you look at them, and yes, we know that Pavia is really good. We learned that sadly last year, and not just against us, against many other teams as well. But man, they've got speed. They've got linemen who've got some size but can run. Um, Very athletic. This is a good football team. If this team was wearing um, any other number of uniforms, if these players were wearing uniforms from some other teams around the league, we wouldn't blink an eye. But because it's Vandy, I don't think we necessarily initially give them enough credit. But this team, I guarantee you, this team has Alabama's attention. It's got the nation's attention. I mean, for crying out loud, you got game day coming to Tuscaloosa for a matchup with Vandy. You know, we've had some primetime games over the years with Vanderbilt, and just candidly, that was a way that Vanderbilt was going to get their contractually obligated opportunity to be on network TV, but it was really putting Bama on there. And you knew it may not be a very competitive game, but they fulfilled the contract. Game day is here. Yes, it's Alabama. Yes, we'll put on a great show, everything leading to kickoff, but Vandy's worthy of it. And I think the unique storyline for the viewers around the country and maybe within the SEC is pretty special. But from a game standpoint, Alabama absolutely turned their attention very, very quickly from Athens back to Bryant-Denny, knowing that a very good Commodore squad's coming to town.
Final thought on today. You mentioned College Game Day, and of course, you were the longtime host of the Nick Saban television show. Just how much have you enjoyed the last couple of years getting to watch him move into that TV role full time with Game Day, and even almost dressed like you today in the full white at the White House at Penn
Exactly.
State last week?
Exactly. Let me tell you, I I was emceeing his luncheon for the Knicks kids, or I guess it was the post golf tournament uh, awards deal. Something I've been flattered he would ask me to do, or Miss Terry would. Over the years, he didn't care if I was there or not. But I joked with him in front of everybody else. Um, there were so many times that Nick Saban would come into that post game TV show after he talked to the media, and I wasn't even in that room for the press conference, but he would come up and he would complain about what had been asked or what had been said, and he would turn and look at me. When I wasn't even in the press conference, he would turn and look at me and make a reference about, and you damn media guys. And I wasn't in there. I didn't do that. I'm your guy. I'm not media. So as I told him, it gives me great joy to watch now and realize that Nick Saban is a damn media guy. He's a really good one. He's and we're not at all shocked. I mean, the segments that on the TV show that got the most attention were when he would go up in front of that video board and have our play of the game. And Coach DeBoer does that with his show, but it was so new for people to see Nick Saban behind the curtain, if you will, and in his element with the clicker in hand and drawing up the play on the screen. And that's an element that Reese, I gladly defer and get out of his way because it's far better with Reese doing it. But Reese with Coach Saban in their game day segment, breaking things down and I mean it's watching a scientist in his laboratory. I mean it's an amazing thing to see. He's great at it. Not at all surprised that it's going as well as it is for him. He's being himself, and as we know, who he is brilliant, engaging when he wants to be, and pretty dang funny at times as well.
He really is. Can't wait to have game day back in town this weekend. Well, Chris, I know busy week for you coming up with Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show Wednesday night, and then everything with the festivities starting outside Vector Security Champions Lane coming up on Saturday as well. Just all the best, and hopefully next week we're talking about another Crimson Tide win. But thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Always, buddy. Roll Tide.